Before you go any further, look below and click the subscribe button. Hello, welcome to Savvy, the Business Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Ambers. Thank you for joining us. And also, I want to send thanks to everyone that has been listening to our show. We have recently been appointed as one of the top business podcasts by Rise 25. So, thank you, everyone that's been listening, sharing, viewing, downloading. So, thank you. Today, we have Dr. Elizabeth Carter on with us. And y'all know how I do it. I stalk people on social media. And I just happened to come across some posts and I was like, well, hold on, let me back up. Let's put this in reverse. Let's see what she's talking about. And I think she was at an event or something, and somebody was pre-interviewing her, and then I started listening to that. I went to her social media, went to the website, just kind of, being nosy, poking around, and I said, you know what? I have to reach out to this lady. Let's see if she's going to be available to grace us with her presence. And guess what? I have her. So thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth, for coming on and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for stalking me.
Absolutely. That's how I do. I start stalking people. So we're going to jump right in. But before, I'm going to read a little bit of her bio just to give you a little taste of who she is. This is not going to cover everything, but I want to give you a little taste of what you can expect. We're gonna start. Let's see. Oh, she has so much stuff. Okay. To break the 8%, the mission of Dr. Elizabeth Carter and her company, AAPPEAL LLC, she started the company in 2016, embodied in her absolute passion for performance, engagement, analytics, and leadership to empower ambitious individuals like herself to stop feeling unseen in the workplace and be more appealing to their companies, enabling clarity of how these four pillars are necessary in the trajectory of one's career. Her tips, tools, and resources eliminates the presence and increases the probability of her clients. She strives to move the needle on the US Bureau of Statistics, which shows a trend that's less than 8% of Black and African Americans holding managerial positions in organizations. Currently, a vice president of clinical strategy execution and business operations for a health insurance company in Pittsburgh, Dr. Carter understands the challenges in maneuvering through jobs trying to fit in, but still stand in one's uniqueness. From scraping her childhood dream of becoming a lawyer to sell life insurance to working in retail management and banking, she finally landed in corporate finance in the insurance industry. Her 25 plus years in this industry has not been without a struggle. She became accustomed to being the only woman of color in the room, and while many others have become frustrated and jumped out of corporate environment, Dr. Carter remains energized, encouraged, and entrenched in the crux of change in the trends and shares real-time experiences with her AAPPEAL clients. Wow. Like I said, this isn't her whole thing, but this is to give you a little taste. And the main reason I really wanted to connect with her and get her on the show is because I stand in I think a part of one of her shoes. I can't feel her shoes, but I stand in some of them shoes, and understanding being a Black woman in corporate America, not being seen, but you're always, when you're the go-to for all the solutions, but you're not giving that credit. It's, oh yeah, somebody else came up with it. This is nothing new. It's not a new topic. It's been going on for way before I was even thought of in the womb. And it's still going on today. And, during the pandemic, I would say a spotlight was turned on. It's nothing new. And of course, everybody want to recognize women, Black women, DEI. You're hearing all of these things that's going on now. But the unfortunate part about it is that like with anything that's in the news, it's going to slowly die back out. So what can we do to help keep it in the spotlight and keep the conversations going? So with that being said, Dr. Elizabeth, wow. Wow. I mean, you just the little bit that I've read and everything else that I've seen, but the little bit that I've read here today, I can so relate to a lot of this. And I want to say maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, I just did a panel discussion on leadership. So, we understand that these things have to happen. And it's like I said, keeping that conversation going. So to just jump right in there, tell us, along with your experience in starting your company, was it a struggle to move from one to the other because of some of the things that you've listed of, being a woman of color, being seen, being recognized, it pretty much giving you your flowers. Was it a challenge for you to make that transition?
Yes, and thank you so much for all of the bio that you read of mine. Yeah, it's been a struggle, being in corporate and then at the same time wanting to start my own company so that people don't fail as much
Mhm.
as I did. You want to be able to bring the next generation behind you to move faster than you did and have more information and access than you did. So for me, the struggle always is that, first of all, I work in finance, and that is predominantly what I would say is a white male oriented discipline. I always knew that I would be a soloist in the room, but I knew I really was good at my craft. And I find that the one main challenge people have, especially women of color, I call it the confidence crushers. And I have that kind of 2Ks, confidence killers, actually, in that we don't think that we belong in the room. So a little bit of imposter syndrome where we have a fear of failure. We think we got there by luck, more of a mindset thing.
Mhm.
Then also we're not confident in all of our experience and exposure and skills we bring to the table. And I call that mastery. We tend to, I'd say, we're overachievers. We want to be overqualified, overeducated, overexperienced so that we feel up 3,000% confident in anything we do. And that's another piece of imposter syndrome. And the other third piece is money. Quite often, the struggle in making a movement or really being confident is that there's a fear of we're not going to get the income that we have today. We have a fear that we're going to get fired and we may be the breadwinner in the home, and
Mhm.
all of that falls on us. And if we lose our job, we lose our home, we lose our car, we lose everything. But we're not confident to say, hey, I can find something else that gives me more value and more money so that I can continue to be the breadwinner in the family and be the person driving all that's happening in the home. So the struggle really was those three things. And for me, what I had to do is pretty much get over myself. It's an ego thing in the end, where we need more validation in what we do and what we bring to the table. And that gives us the energy, which we don't have all the time because we're so beaten down by the system, that we know we can step out on faith and know that if we fall, there's people there to help us up, and that our confidence says, you know what, I can do this. I can persevere. I can break through. I can blind myself to all of the negatives in the world and be positive and move forward. So that's really been the challenge and how I've tried to overcome it. And I love to be able to share those same things with others who find that they're struggling all the time.
That is so true because from my experience, I can say the same thing is that, you get beat down so much that you start to doubt yourself and, trying to, navigate that and get over that hump of, whoa, wait a minute. I'm better than that. I know these things. I'm confident in what I know. And it's getting over that. What do you say to women that are still in that, are trying to figure out how to get over that hump of, what don't take that, that beat down that you have, get out of that. So how can they get out of that and get over that hump to build themselves back up?
What I always try to do and coach my people is to be in spaces where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And the celebration comes from really evaluating what you are great at, what your secret sauce is, what you're passionate about, and lean into activities that allow you to shine. For me, I find a lot of gratitude in serving in external organizations outside of my organization where I know my skill sets in finance are needed. Of course, you mentioned, during COVID and with the George Floyd incident, there's a more of a conscious need that they're looking for us. They're looking for Black females. They're
Mhm.
looking to diversify their leadership teams and their boards, because as they look around, they notice lots of homogeneous faces in their worlds. And now's a great time to showcase what we do that's different besides the color of our skin and our gender. What are our other skill sets? Are we good in finance? Are we good in sales? Are we good in marketing? Are we good at product development? We have to know what else we bring to the table, because that's the selling point. The fact that we're a Black female is a bonus, but we have to ensure we know what else we bring to the table, because we'll always feel like somebody's playing the race card, and
Mhm.
that's not it. They're trying to play the game of intellect, knowledge, and innovation, and we bring that to the table.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we do. So, confidence killers. One, why did you decide to spell confidence with the K? And tell us more about how to take somebody through that and help them through that process.
Absolutely. I love alliteration and acronyms. So it's just a K and a K. Confidence killer. So I just changed the C to the K to make it cute and
Okay.
have a ring to it. And for me, first of all, when we think about the mindset, so it really is about getting over imposter syndrome. And one thing I didn't realize that was a symptom is perfectionism. We all know about fear of failure, self-doubt, feeling it's luck further than being deserved. Another key one is perfectionism. And I've been working in the perfectionism land forever, because our parents told us we had to be great. We had to be number one. We look different. In order to compete, we have to be better than all of them. And I always thought that was normal because that was the household I was brought up in. But we have to get beyond perfectionism, because that impedes progress. It'll never be perfect. It'll never be 100% the way you want it, but just go with it. You can improve it later. You'll never know enough to know every single thing you need to know. Just thrive on what you know today. And that will really allow you to get past that mindset we have that really does kill our confidence. The second piece is the mastery. Same thing. There comes a point in time actually where you're overeducated. So now where I was underqualified, now I'm overqualified. So now you can't win. So
Yeah.
you really have to think about what else you have, and it maybe you need just more experience in the industry that you're really wanting to thrive in. How do you do that? Take on roles in that particular space, or again, volunteer in organizations where you can leverage and hone in on some of those skill sets and tools. And the last piece is the money. Just think about the money you're leaving on the table by being fearful, by not considering that promotion where you may not be 100% qualified, maybe 75%, and they'll take a risk on you to learn the additional 25. I know for me, years ago, I turned down a job, and I'll tell you, it's embarrassing. It was more of an ego thing than a money thing. It was because they weren't going to give me an office. Now, how shallow is that? Because sometimes we're so focused in on those tangible things
Yeah.
like a desk and other fringe benefits that
Yeah.
have no meaning to what you'll bring to the organization and what they'll be able to lead you to. So sometimes financially, we're thinking we need all these things, but when we really step back and look at the necessities and think futuristically about how you can grow your career incrementally, where it's a promotion, more
Mhm.
advancement, higher bonuses, that will get you everything you thought you needed. So, for example, having an office, I'm work from home now, and now I'm a vice president. So I still don't have an office, but I have the title, I have the value, I have a group that I really enjoy working with, and that's what's important. So those are really the ways we need to get out of our way, because we're killing our own confidence and we are actually taking money out of our own pocket by not being confident in what we do and how we can add value.
Wow, I'm glad that you said that about, that vanity piece of having the office, the vanity of a certain title. My title don't seem big enough. So getting out of that, vanity, glowing look, if you will, and, missing out on those opportunities. Um, and like now, like you say, you're working at home, still not in the office, but you have your value now.
Right.
So it's about getting those things. Why did you start your company Appeal?
When it was interesting, I thought I was doing all the right things, trying to do the corporate culture, getting involved in activities, raising my hand for special projects, thinking that, and I was a director at the time, I was working my way toward a vice president role. What happened ended up being that I ended up getting laid off. They downsized my organization and didn't feel the need to keep me on or relocate me or
Mhm.
reassign me. And that hit me to say, you know what? There are so many people like me who were thinking that we're going to work every day, doing the grind, staying late, working overtime,
Yeah.
all the fun things we think are the right things to do, but it doesn't matter. And that was when I decided, while I was laid off, I wanted to start my company Appeal, because I knew there were so many people like me who were still in the grind. I was fortunate that I was already in leadership. I meet so many who are individual contributors asking me, well, how do I get promoted? I want to lead people. I want to add more value. I want to do more. And that's when I started to put together all of my past, I call them bumps and bruises of what I've been through, to say, here's what happened to me. Here's what I would have done differently so that it will help you. And that's been my driving force since then. I have similarly found a job where I am now, working in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I still mentor tons of people. There's still a huge need of minorities who are sitting in that individual contributor level who can't figure out how to move up. Whether it's blatant discrimination, racism, there is something about their posture that's not welcome currently at a upper leadership role. And there's just a few tweaks some of us need to make to be able to take that next step, be different in a way that is visible, that leadership will say, okay, he or she's ready, or we'll take a chance and mentor and coach them. And that's really my drive around trying to change that ratio. Being, less than 8% in leadership is horrible, and it hasn't moved in years. Even with the change in the thought process around providing more opportunity, there's
Mhm.
still some apprehension in companies to do that.
Yeah. What do you say to women that decided not to resign? They don't want to start a new company, not interested in being an entrepreneur, but they're still in that career of, the same thing of what you just said. And then, of course, you have the ones that, starting businesses, or either they're trying to do both. Um, how what can you share to let them know that it's okay to have both and you can do both, but be sure you are what?
Right. Yes. So thank you for that. Absolutely. What I always tell people, especially who are, I would say, towing the line like me, working a full-time corporate job and have the side business, you always want to make sure you're doing well in your full-time job, because that's your secret investor in your other business.
Yes.
You definitely want to be able to keep that till you're ready to jump 100% into your passion project, I would say. But definitely, if a person is having trouble where they are currently, it's always also about the transferable skills. Anything we do, it may not work in the area that you're in today. Someone else will value you someplace else. For example, for me, I've been in finance forever, over 25 years in different financial roles across different insurance companies. I recently just moved over into a clinical services area, not finance, but they needed the financial discipline that I brought to the table to allow them to grow and really add value to the organization. So sometimes it really is stepping out of what you're doing today because you may not be valued in the way you want. But one person's trash is another person's treasure. So always know what you bring, because somebody else may absolutely need exactly what you have, or where you're at, you really can't tell. So I always talk to people about, well, what do you really enjoy, and discuss how can that be transferred into something else or someplace else, especially if you're in a bigger organization where you have that room to move and be mobile, where you're not losing your tenure, you're not losing your vacation time you may have accumulated. You have the comfort of, people who work there, because that's another sense, a sense of belonging is another fear. We hate to go someplace new where we're the new person, don't know anybody, have no networks, have no leverage. And I understand that. So it really is, how do you make it work where you are? But you may need to leave that bubble you're in and explore something else where you're more valued.
Okay. What can a person do to elevate themselves to where they are more appealing to upper management?
Thank you. The one big thing, and I find when I'm talking to people about their resume, is we don't have enough tangible value that we're aware of in what we're doing. When I read people's resumes, they're more task oriented, not outcome oriented. So I always say to people, well, what have you done to help the company pivot? And that really is about providing improvement, value, or transformation. A lot of times we have jobs where we're not quite sure how and what happens to our work after we hand it upward to the next level in the organization to take with it, or we don't have any metrics to show what we're doing and how we are contributing to the team results or the departmental or even the company results. So I work with people to say, well, what are you doing? How can we create our own internal metrics and our own personal goals to say, here's what I want to achieve with this team? And that helps in the conversation at year end for reviews. And also it goes on your resume as accomplishments for you to have a conversation with the next company or team or group. Mm-hmm. So it really is getting better at understanding your own value, and you may have to monitor it yourself if the company has no way to do that for you.
That is so true. That most companies, I think what we're focused and we're branded in the sense of, because this is what we've always been told, your resume should have these on it. What did you do? Tell them your task, blah, blah, blah. And we're so programmed to do some of these things, just like you mentioned earlier, growing up, your parents always told you, to do these things. Be sure you're looking at these, include, these tasks on there. How can, especially us as a Black society, get out of that, get unprogrammed?
Yes. So it really is thinking about, why do you show up every day? And it can't be for the paycheck, because that's not a motivator, and that won't keep you engaged in the organization.
Yeah.
So it really is. And I even say, no matter where you work, even if you're working in the mail room, your role is very important. The mail that you're delivering is for a reason. So again, I work in insurance. So the mail person is bringing the invoices and the bills because the claimants want to get paid. If that person not good about delivering the mail, there's a timing issue on that. So every single thing anyone does in the organization has some type of attachment to it. And I have another um, item I look at and work with people on their reviews is called the fact sheet. So we work with people to help them change how they're feeling, usually good, bad, or indifferent, usually good. Also, we are looking for action. We're looking for change in the organization, and we're looking to change people's thoughts. Those are how we know we're adding value. If we've influenced a decision or a person in some way, that is valuable. We may not be able to count it, but we can usually put some qualitative data behind it where we may have thank you notes, or we have what's called net promoter score. People are chiming in. I had a great experience, loved the person. They were so helpful. They brought me my information early, on time. So there's tons of ways for us to think about what we do, because there usually is a qualitative or quantitative measure behind it. And I always say to them, if you didn't show up today, what wouldn't get done? That's the value that you add. It may be able to be done by somebody else, but not the same way you do it. So that's what I help people think through in getting out of that old habit of like, I show up every day, I am charged to do XYZ, but what does XYZ do for others, and how are they valuing what you are doing for them?
Love it. What can organizations do to make the journey more engaging?
Yes. The interesting thing, and especially now, we still have companies saying, hey, I can't find any talent. That is because, one, they continue to look in the same places for talent. So, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. The organization first has to think differently about, from an external, where they are going to recruit. If they are targeting the same cities, same universities where the demographic doesn't change, you won't be able to change who's coming into the organization. So I've been pushing even for my organization to go out to some HBCUs. They're not in state, but students will move for an opportunity. And now a lot of companies are doing work from home, so they don't have to move now and still work for you. So it really is how to be different in your recruiting efforts. And once they come in and being part of some of the recruiting efforts here, it gets back to the resume. So the resume doesn't display enough value for the company to say, let's give them a chance and have an interview with them. So it really is, and what I see mostly are what I call gaps. A person, this is what happens to us. We start school, we have to stop. Maybe we go back, maybe we don't. We start a job, we don't like it, we quit. We're out of work for a while, then we go back. So these gaps are red light signals to organizations, and we have to have organizations think about, forget those gaps, think about what they did in the items they are sharing. But we have to, again, be clear and have value to overcome those gaps that they may see in the timeline. That's one thing companies can do, is give people a chance to come in and have a conversation. A piece of paper does not tell you much about a person. A face-to-face or video-to-video conversation will allow you to see their presence, see how eloquent a speaker they are, see how they have overcome all the challenges that they went through, whether it's childhood, child care, caring for grandparents, whatever it is that they've been through, they've made it through. So give them a chance. And if they need extra help, so here's the equity piece of why companies are really focusing on equity. Some of us need more help than others. So give it to them. Acknowledge that someone may need a mentor where someone else may not. Someone else may need additional training in a particular area. Someone may not. But make the investment. That's what I always encourage companies to really do. Make the investment, see the long range value in a person, and give them a chance. We give others a chance with less experience. Let's give ourselves a chance. Absolutely.
Wow, I love how you put that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but with the equity piece, should us as individuals start looking at the equity that we have within ourselves as an offering as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of times that doesn't show up on paper either. That's why the face-to-face conversation will bring some of that additional out during the conversation. Absolutely. Because I think we all have different unique skills that we bring to the table, and we may not be using them in our current role. Maybe again, a project or our side business.
Mhm.
So absolutely, we need to bring that all to light. It's really going to be about how we frame the conversation and what we make sure we include in that conversation.
Wow. What do you think about these different assessments that's out now? Some people have never heard of them, but some have. You have Colby, you have Strength Finder, you have these, different assessments out there. What are your thoughts on those? And how important do you think it is for someone to take them to help figure out the skills and understand who they are?
I think they're phenomenal. I love Strength Finders and then the DISC. And what both of them do, they bring the positiveness of what you have to light. And
Mhm.
what it also does is says, here's how you need to interact with others who may not have that same, top 5 strength finders or not the same
Yeah.
DISC as you. Because the challenge we have, in addition to our own confidence, is the communication and interaction with others. We don't understand each other. We don't know why a person is this way, and that could be characteristics of either one of those assessments.
Mhm.
So assessments are great as long as we're sharing with each other what those assessments are. No sense in me taking the assessment and nobody knows that I'm a D or an I or an S or one of the strength
Right.
finder roles. We have to share with each other what they are so that we can see our differences and our commonalities, and then we're better interacting with each other in the workplace. So I love those because I have found so much value in me and saying to myself, oh, that's why I do this or don't do
Yeah.
that or hate that or
Right.
annoyed by that. But then it is, what are the other people I'm working with? What does their profile look like? So I know how to how I need to modify my action in
Right.
order to work well with them.
Wow. um that in those are important. And I've heard some people take these, and I have an issue with understanding it, because it's like you're taking this assessment and it's telling you where you are. And I've heard some people say, oh, well, I'm not that, I'm this, or I'm this. It's like you're still in that place of not accepting who you are, not who you want to be. Accepting who you are and making it do what it's going to do, and not being this person that you want to imagine. What do you to say to someone that's in that space, and just they're not, I'm gonna say they're not ready. You may call it something else. I'm gonna say they're not ready.
I find that in addition to those assessments are also situational based on where you are at a point in time. I, for a long time with the DISC assessment, was a D, but at my role more recently, because there were so many D's in the room, I've kind of resorted back a bit. So now I did it last time, I was a C, more conscientious. And that's because situationally, there are so many domineering people in the room. I can't be domineering, there's too many.
Yeah.
I find that those types of areas shift situationally. So if a person says, well, that's not me, well, let's talk about the environment that you're in. It's
Mm,
possible that you're being overshadowed by others. And if you want to get back to where you think you are, we may need to shift you into an area where you can be whatever that particular top 5 or top quality is, so that you have comfort and you are aligned to where you think you are. So the alignment's probably more situational, and it's just a matter of where they are right now is not aligned to where they think their strengths are.
wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. But we can go keep I could keep going on and on and on with you. I know. I mean, time is so limited and it went by so fast. So let everyone know how they can reach you, your website, social media, and if they decide to stalk you like I did.
Thank you so much. Yes, my website is www.eac, that's my initial, dash appeal. That's 2 A's, 2 P's, EAL.com. My Facebook and Instagram are the same, all one word, EAC Appeal, 2 A's, 2 P's, EAL. And that's how you can find me. I'm so excited to be able to share. Please reach out to me with your questions, concerns. I have some books I have written. I have a new one coming out called Gaining Access to Getting Promoted in Corporate. That's one clear question people are asking today, as again, companies are trying to elevate African Americans in their workplace, but they're still saying they can't find talent, or talent is not ready. I want to help talent be ready in that space. And I will have a summit coming out in June called the Elevate Your Value Summit. And there'll be more information on my website as we finish getting all of the pieces constructed. So I'm excited.
Will the summit be virtual?
It will be. Yes, it will be.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, everybody can go.
Yes. Yes. It will be.
Everybody can go.
I'm going to have lots of value added to help everyone elevate regardless where they are, in corporate, entrepreneurship, at home, trying to get back in. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, this was brilliant. It was, I mean, so many nuggets was dropped, and I mean, it's I can't see no one looking at this and not taking those, rewind and looking at this over and over and over and making their notes and, reaching out to you. So thank you again so much for just being open and talking with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Follow us on our Instagram at Savvy Mag Biz and on our YouTube channel, Savvy, the Business Podcast. Thank you for joining us on Savvy, the Business Podcast. If you want to be a guest, send an email to media@savvymag.biz. That's media@savvymag.biz. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be heard by millions.